Swoopes. No, Caitlyn Clark. Respectfully, Cheryl Swoopes. You have any idea how that makes you look? You have any idea how that serves to stain any kind of critique of Caitlyn Clark?
Certainly. Here's the revised content, enriched with SEO keywords to optimize it for search engines. Records shattered, arenas packed, and a WNBA rookie taking the league by storm. Caitlyn Clark's arrival has ignited a wildfire in women's basketball, but not everyone's celebrating. Is Caitlyn Clark revolutionizing the WNBA? Or is the hype surrounding her causing a rift among the league's legends? Get ready, because this story has more twists and turns than a Caitlyn Clark no-look pass. The WNBA has seen its share of stars, but none quite like Caitlyn Clark.
Kelsey Mitchell is just stroking. She is just shooting the basketball. Aaliyah Boston, almost a triple-double.
Well, that race might be over before it really began. Don't get me wrong, Angel Reese is a phenomenal player. She's putting up impressive numbers, especially on the offensive boards. But while Caitlyn Clark's elevating her entire team, Angel Reese's Chicago Sky are struggling to stay in playoff contention. It's not just about individual brilliance, it's about impact. And right now, Caitlyn Clark's impact is off the charts. She's not just playing well, she's changing the way WNBA teams have to approach the game. Defenses are scrambling to find ways to contain her, often leaving her teammates open for easy buckets. Love her or hate her, you can't ignore her. Caitlyn Clark isn't just the story of this WNBA season. She might be the future of the league. But is the WNBA ready for this seismic shift? As the playoffs loom and tensions rise, one thing's for sure: women's basketball will never be the same. The game is changing, folks. The only question is, are you ready for what comes next? Recent discussions around Caitlyn Clark have added fuel to this fiery debate, particularly involving WNBA legend Cheryl Swoopes and ESPN analyst Stephen A. Smith. Here's what you need to know. In a recent analysis, Cheryl Swoopes praised several Indiana Fever players for their contributions to the team's success, but notably omitted any mention of Caitlyn Clark, the rookie guard who has been a significant factor in the Fever's rise in the standings. Sue Bird has expressed strong admiration for Caitlyn Clark, highlighting her exceptional skills and impact on the WNBA. Bird considers Caitlyn Clark a significant threat in the upcoming WNBA playoffs, stating that if she were still playing, the Indiana Fever and Caitlyn Clark would be the last team she would want to face.
And by the way, I never thought Caitlyn wasn't strong. That was actually something I noticed in college. Like, she had a strength about her. Will she get stronger, and will that help her? Yeah. I think it was more just getting used to the hits and the physicality and like what refs are going to call, what they're not going to call. And you've seen her adjust in that way too. Like, she's definitely getting used to it, which is, trouble for everybody else. That's why I don't want to see her.
Sue Bird emphasized that Caitlyn Clark's pace of play is a crucial factor, noting that it can outmatch physicality and experience, which are often seen as advantages in the league.
Kelsey Mitchell is just stroking. She is just shooting the basketball. Aaliyah Boston, almost a triple-double.
You might think maybe it was just an oversight, but in the world of professional sports, silence can be louder than words. By not mentioning Caitlyn Clark, Cheryl Swoopes put an even bigger spotlight on her. It's the elephant in the room that keeps getting bigger. Enter Stephen A. Smith, known for his bold takes and unfiltered commentary. Smith was quick to defend Caitlyn Clark, calling out Swoopes for her omission. The omission by Cheryl Swoopes didn't go unnoticed by fans. It sparked significant backlash, with some even creating merchandise with slogans like, "Don't be a Cheryl," to express their support for Caitlyn Clark. Fans are flocking to see her play, many of them new to the WNBA. Caitlyn Clark isn't just a player, she's become a cultural phenomenon, drawing attention to women's sports like never before. But not everyone's joining the Caitlyn Clark fan club. Enter Cheryl Swoopes, WNBA legends and women's basketball icon. On a recent podcast, Swoopes discussed the Fever's impressive season. She praised Lexi Hall, mentioned Kelsey Mitchell, and gave a shout out to Aaliyah Boston. But Caitlyn Clark? Not a word. It's like trying to describe the solar system without mentioning the sun. Bird predicted that Caitlyn Clark will continue to break records in the coming years, as she is already making a significant impact in her rookie season. Bird stated,
Caitlyn continuing to impress and she's going to break records nonstop for the next couple years.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a constant record break.
indicating her belief in Caitlyn Clark's potential to reshape the landscape of women's basketball. Despite the criticism from Cheryl Swoopes, Caitlyn Clark has chosen to focus on her game and her impact on the court. Caitlyn Clark continues to lead the Indiana Fever with record-breaking performances, all while maintaining respect for the WNBA legends who came before her. Some fans have even created merchandise with slogans like "Don't be a Cheryl" to express their support for Caitlyn Clark against Swoopes' criticisms. Despite the criticism, Cheryl Swoopes has remained steadfast in her views, focusing on praising other WNBA players while seemingly sidelining Caitlyn Clark. This has led to debates about whether her stance is rooted in a genuine assessment of player performance or if it reflects deeper biases in women's basketball. Caitlyn Clark's commitment to her craft and her ability to rise above negativity have only added to her growing legacy. While Swoopes remains silent on Caitlyn Clark, other WNBA legends aren't holding back their praise. Sue Bird, for instance, sees Caitlyn Clark as a game changer. Bird's comments go beyond mere compliments. They recognize how Caitlyn Clark is redefining the game. So what's behind this stark contrast between Cheryl Swoopes and Sue Bird? Is it just a difference of opinion, or is there something deeper at play? Some argue it's a clash between the old guard and the new generation in women's basketball. Do they lean into the star power of players like Caitlyn Clark, using her popularity to boost the WNBA's profile? Or do they try to spread the attention around, ensuring that all WNBA players get their moment in the spotlight? And what about the style of play? Caitlyn Clark's long-range shooting and flashy passes are exciting, but they're a departure from the more traditional, physical style that's defined the WNBA for years. Does the league embrace this new style or try to maintain a balance? One thing's for sure, the impact of Caitlyn Clark goes far beyond the court. It's not just another game. It's Caitlyn Clark versus Angel Reese, the Cinderella story versus the struggling powerhouse. It's shaping up to be one of the most anticipated games in recent WNBA history. This game is more than just a regular season matchup. It's a showcase of the WNBA's future. Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese represent two different styles of play, two different paths to the pros. But let's zoom out for a second. This isn't just about one player or one season. We're watching the entire landscape of the WNBA shift. Caitlyn Clark's popularity is bringing new fans to the game. These aren't just casual viewers. They're becoming invested in the stories, the teams, and the players of the WNBA. Think about what this could mean for the WNBA. More fans mean more revenue. More revenue could lead to better salaries for WNBA players, improved facilities, and more resources for marketing and development. Their matchup is a microcosm of the larger changes happening in women's basketball. But here's the million-dollar question. Is all this attention good for the WNBA? On one hand, we've got sold-out arenas, skyrocketing TV ratings, and a buzz around women's basketball we haven't seen in years. The WNBA is getting mainstream coverage, not just in sports media, but in general news outlets too. On the other hand, we've got tension between WNBA veterans and rookies, questions about fair promotion, and concerns about overshadowing other talented players. There's a risk of the WNBA becoming too focused on individual stars rather than team play. Get ready, because this story has more twists and turns than a Caitlyn Clark no-look pass. The WNBA has seen its share of stars, but none quite like Caitlyn Clark. Fresh out of college, Caitlyn Clark isn't just playing the game, she's changing it. But with great success comes great controversy, especially in the world of women's basketball. Let's break it down. Caitlyn Clark is leading the entire WNBA in assists. As a rookie, she's averaging 26 points and 9.2 assists per game. These aren't just impressive numbers. They're the kind of stats that make you question what's possible in the game of basketball. In a recent analysis, Cheryl Swoopes praised several Indiana Fever players for their contributions to the team's success, but notably omitted any mention of Caitlyn Clark, the rookie guard who has been a significant factor in the Fever's rise in the standings. This omission has led to accusations of bias against Caitlyn Clark, with critics suggesting that Swoopes harbors a grudge against her. Stephen A. Smith has been vocal in defending Caitlyn Clark, calling out Swoopes for her lack of acknowledgement. He argued that failing to mention Caitlyn Clark who leads the WNBA in assists, undermines her contributions and perpetuates a narrative of negativity towards her. Stephen A. Smith emphasized Caitlyn Clark's impact on women's basketball, particularly in terms of increasing WNBA viewership and fan engagement since her arrival in the league. The omission by Cheryl Swoopes has sparked significant backlash from WNBA fans, many of whom feel that she is unjustly critical of Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn Clark isn't just carrying the hopes of her team, she's carrying the hopes of an entire league. That's a lot of pressure for a rookie, no matter how talented. As we head into the final stretch of the season, all eyes will be on Caitlyn Clark and the Indiana Fever. Can they complete their Cinderella story and make the playoffs? Will Caitlyn Clark continue to rewrite the record books? And how will the rest of the WNBA respond to this new phenomenon? Despite the criticism from Cheryl Swoopes, Caitlyn Clark has chosen to focus on her game and her impact on the court. Caitlyn Clark continues to lead the Indiana Fever with record-breaking performances, all while maintaining respect for the WNBA legends who came before her.